There is a huge presence awakening for us at this time. If you just allow yourself to get in a space where you're alone, where you're detoxing, where you make yourself as receptive as possible to these energies, you could get something worthwhile, honestly. So this video is all about the goddess awakening that is happening right now at this time. And I'm gonna be honest, guys, I was a little late to it. And that's because leading up to it, it was pulling things to the surface that were just frightening for me. So instead of opening myself up to receiving, I kind of closed myself off to every single thing, because a part of what I was experiencing had a lot to do with communication barriers and disruptions. So the goddess awakening, excuse all the chatter in my background, this is a busy morning at the park on a Monday, which is not actually surprising considering the fact that we're all trying to feel good right now. Giving yourself the things that you need are opening you up to that receptiveness, and everyone does it in their different ways. So let's get right into it. So anyone who is aware of these things and these energies in life are aware that women, we are receptive, we are internal, we are deep. We are deep as the deepest parts of our very ocean. We are as deep and complex as the most untouched, uncharted spaces in our own solar system. With that being said, when we awaken and we receive something that is ground shaking, is just completely new and just it's a big thing, it's a big deal, because that's how you know that something around us is gonna change, like in huge monumental ways. So I'm just gonna get right into it without all the dramatics. I'm gonna start off with saying this example. So I'm gonna stand up actually. So when you are between the ages of newborn until about 6 or 8 years old, scientists in the world of development believe that that time is the most crucial in your life, that you are receiving pretty much everything, because at that time you're completely a sponge. So as kids, when we're still between ages newborn to 6 or 8, about 8 years old, everything that we receive for ourselves is these are the most important times of our lives. At these times we're supposed to be taught, we're supposed to be shown rather how to honor ourselves through example. We are supposed to eat the most amazing foods and receive praise for the things that we do, and be taken seriously, because our brain and we ourselves were developing at that time. So as you can see or imagine, those times are incredibly crucial for development. So with that being said, during these times when traumatic things happen to us, and it could be as traumatic as your parents not acknowledging you, them not taking you and your emotions and your thoughts seriously, them not creating time for you, or making you feel like you owe them something for making time for you, anything of that nature, that is traumatizing for us in those years. So a lot of us have experienced that sort of trauma, where between those ages we probably were ignored, or we probably were given too much attention, and just all these imbalances and all these things that disrupted the most important years of our lives, or seeded something very unhealthy during those most important years of our lives. with that being the case, we're all struggling with things in our adulthood. And for a lot of us, even myself and lots of people that I meet, a lot of those issues are rooted in self-worth. And that's because when you are between the ages of newborn to 6 years old and you aren't taken seriously, you aren't given love, you aren't given praises for the things that you do and the things that you learn, or you have to beg for your parents' attention or approval, or you just don't have it, there's an absence, all these different things and a huge array of things. What causes the issues at that point is the problem of self-worth issues. So if all of us have problems of self-worth issues, what does that result in? There's always a power struggle. With so many people having self-worth issues, not everyone, but a lot of us in these generations, there's the problem of a power struggle in our interactions, in our friendships, in our relationships. It's always a power struggle where we have to feel like we're on top, or we have to receive a certain amount of information from someone else, or energy from someone else. But let's get back to this goddess awakening, right? So a lot of women suffer from issues related to self-worth because as women, we have been taught for so many years that our worth lies solely in what we can do for others, what we can produce for others, what we can give to others of ourselves, how fast or how easily we can put others before ourselves, because that nurturing, maternal, natural feeling that we're born with was kind of hijacked and taken advantage of so that we can pour ourselves into anything but us for another system that has nothing to do with us. I'm not saying this so that we can all rise and panic. I'm saying this to shine a light on and reveal something that is so important, because when you do that, you allow that thing to change. And we're in the days today, the present, right now is what I'm speaking on. We have the power to literally take anything that we've experienced in our past and transmute that into something brand new. What I'm saying is right now in the present, you can make memories and things happen that fit in with what you believe in, you personally, right? So I'm going to start off with a little bit of an example before we get into the thick of this even deeper. But for example, I was talking to my friend this morning about this rising, about self-worth issues and how that looks in relationships and things like that. We went to this company thing where we had these raffles that we were handed these tickets for a raffle that we were doing so you could win something. I think it was like some Beats headphones or something they give away at these company things. So I told her, honestly, I'm taking a day to just do things for myself. I'm going to do some work and things that I find valuable for me. I don't really want to be at this function. So I'm gonna leave early. She said, okay, cool, give me your ticket, give me your raffle ticket. Now, if you win, I'll get the prize for you, give it to you. And right then is like, oh, I thought that was so nice, because me and her are new friends. So what I've been taught since childhood is just put people for yourself, like to be selfless. And my mom taught me that because that's what she was taught, or that's what she was made to feel like she had to do, and in her spaces that she was in when she was a kid. So right when she said that, my first instinct was to be nicer to her than she was to me. Like, not match it with like, oh my God, thank you so much. That is so sweet. Like, thank you. I hope you win. That's a match of niceness. That's just a matching. I would have did the same thing for her, and I could have let her know that that's matching the kindness. You don't even have to match it if you don't want to, but that's just me. I like to give people kindness because it's like a exchange that I want people to know if I value you, like I will be in a reciprocated relationship with you in all ways. But my natural instinct that is off balance made me feel like I needed to go a step ahead of her and be even nicer to her. This is something I've been working on, so I noticed right off the bat when I did it, but it was after the fact that I had already said it. So basically, I was like, you know what? Didn't your Beats headphones didn't you just tell me yesterday at work, like, oh, did you tell me that your Beats headphones broke or something like that? Like, if I win them, like, you could probably just take them, you know what I'm saying? I don't know what the hell possessed me knowing damn well that I need some headphones myself, and then some nice ones, especially for making music, that I should just give away something that I would rightly win, if I were to win. And her face scrunched up. She's like, no, love, like, I mean, yeah, mines are broken, but if you win, like, you won. And that's what made me realize, like, what the hell am I doing? Please tell me if you guys have these moments. Please tell me, because I would love for us to go back and forth about this. And just like, I'm just curious. Like, I've seen other women do it, so I know it's a thing, but it's like, I can't believe that it's so it has become so natural to me where something like that would happen. I was just thinking it was normal any other time. So I realized, I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, you're right. And I just left it alone. But then I was like, wow, this is a big problem. So with that being said, the feminine energy, the goddess energy, is rising. It is being exposed. Every woman that I talk to or come in contact with for the past week or a few days or so has been in a mood where they either want to completely be alone, or they feel like they need some sort of physical, intimate connection. I had to put a little joke on Instagram. I mean, I meant what I said, but it was kind of like a little social experiment where I basically said, like, why is it so hard to find a dick appointment? You know, someone who understands consent and boundaries, and who understands the female form and is very much so receptive and good at sexual interactions. So many women, I had so many responses from both men and women saying, you know what, I want the same thing. And it just got me to thinking, like, wow, like, every time we're in a space where we need some sort of, we need ourselves the most, when we need a lot of time to dig deep, those are the times where we're craving that intimacy. And it just translates over into sexual intimacy or something of that nature, when really it could just be you sitting with yourself, getting intimate with yourself. And if that looks like you just kind of like cuddling and just like being, you know, like comfortable. Sorry, it was a bee. I didn't want it to sting me. It was like really close. Bees love me though, so I'm not really worried about that. So yeah, like, then that's what it looks like. But I just think that's so interesting that at those times when we need ourselves the most, especially to dig deep and learn something about ourselves, because we're encountering some sort of energy change that's opening us up to receiving large amounts of information that is important to our growth, we kind of, if we can't have access to it, then it's like we just look for something somewhere else, a different channel of energy, but that's not always healthy. So I've loved that I've learned about myself that in those times, you know, it's important to make yourself receptive. Even if you just have to say out loud, I am open to whatever it is that I'm supposed to learn, you're going to get it either way. I don't want to get off track. So I'm going to get back to this goddess energy that's happening. Goddesses, you got to wake up. The feminine energy, we have to rise. We have to wake up. It's important because, you know, let me just be frank. Nobody wants you to have control over yourself and your emotions and know what the hell you want for yourself and when you want it and all of that. Especially a lot of male energies. And I'm not bashing male energy. I'm just bashing that structure that's been in place for so long, where women supposedly don't know what we want for ourselves, therefore we need guidance. The only time that we need to work in a team setting with a male or another person is if we're doing something that requires something of that nature to get done. There's a time and place for things like that. But all on our own as an individual, we know what the hell we want, right? So if you know what you want, people don't always like that. They want to get in between that. They want to try to stop it or control it, because sometimes it just makes them feel powerful. Sometimes it makes other people feel powerful when they meet a person, and I'm just gonna say feminine energy, because I get in this space where I'm like, I don't want to just talk about women and men, I don't want to look like I'm bashing, but somebody got to speak on it. And I'm just gonna be honest, And I feel this way too personally, on a personal level. And when I see other women going through the same thing, that I just feel like it needs to get, I need to speak on this. And people hate it when a woman knows what she wants and she's firm. And she says, oh, I have this amount of time for us to hang out, or I have this amount of this to give you, or this is what I want. Do you want the same thing, or do you not? You know? And people don't like that. A lot of men have grown to be taught that you are only as good as you can guide a woman. And to be honest, that's self-worth issues within the male balance. Because men, you're great on your own. It doesn't make you greater to know how to like guide a woman. It makes you great to know how to guide yourself, so that anyone who comes in contact with you feels like, wow, that person or that man or whatever knows what he wants. He's sure about it. It makes me want to be the same thing. And quite frankly, men, when you're that way, it's so powerful. It's so powerful because you're so good at externalizing things. You're so good at putting things into motion. So when you're sure about what you're doing, people want to follow that because you're using your power in the way that it was meant to be used. So women, it's a little different. We have to understand that we are powerful in that same way. We internalize things, yes, but we are extremely creative. We have the deepest depths of creativity, excuse the noise, and we have the ability to use our own male balance and externalize that. Just like men can tap into the wells of their creativity, feminine, to then use their masculine energy to put it out into the world. Women, we have to tap into this because we have been stifled for too long. We have the creativity, we have the deep and beautiful moving thoughts and imaginations and healing energies and healing motifs, like everything. But a lot of us are not keyed into or exposed to or open to our male balance, because a lot of men and some women even make us feel bad for being in touch with our male self. They say, oh, you're too masculine. Yeah, it's supposed to be a balance, quite frankly. Sometimes you got to be out of balance to get in balance, so that's your business. Sometimes I'm more masculine and I'm just like, yeah, whatever, like, because I'm trying to balance myself out. And sometimes I'm more masculine because I know that I need to catch up on some work, so I need to externalize. I need to get some shit going. So sometimes I might step on some toes. You might step on some toes. You might run over some folks because you are in your male bag. You're in your male energy bag. We're talking about bags of money. We need to be talking about bags of other things, like your bags of trustworthiness, your bags of loyalty, your bags of work ethic, your bags of creativity, your bags of self-worth. Things that really matter. Like, let's just be honest. These are the things that really matter. These are the things that are at the foot of your foundation. These are the things that build your very foundation. So if you have these things, you have the power to go far, honey, and keep whatever it is that you gain. It's all about your foundation. A lot of people don't think about that. They build their foundation on something faulty, on something quick, and wonder why it falls down so early. It's because you're not building what you say you care so much about on a solid foundation. So ladies, yes, sometimes you have to be in your male bag quite deeply, because you have been stifled for so long when it comes to creating things or putting plans into motion. It's because you stay comfortable in your natural energy that is feminine. Discomfort grows us. We should have discomfort. We should experience discomfort. So with that being said, you have to be strong. Strong meaning I know when to get lost in my emotion. When I'm creative, I'll get lost in my thoughts and my emotion, because that's how I create. That's how I make something new and something deep and just like very much so sought after. I make an idea or a thing, like, honestly, like when some of the best music and the best pieces of art were made when someone was probably in their feelings. Feelings are highly feminine. That's you in your feminine bag. Now, I could feel feelings all day and write all the poetry I want, and you could write all the music and paint all the photos you want, or write all the stories or whatever that you want. But if you don't go into then your male bag to say, hey, I'm gonna record this song, I'm gonna put this photo in a photo gallery, or I'm gonna sell this art, I'm gonna put on a concert, or I'm gonna publish my work, your balance is then not fulfilled. Why do you think that they say when you're looking for your soulmate or your other half, you're really in search for yourself? Born into this female body, I realized that I am driven and influenced by the moon. I am. I feel it. It's so deep. It's so murky and so beautiful, and so it's all these things. I realized that my task then is to balance my male energy. A lot of the time, being a Virgo, being a moon, sun, and rising Virgo, the very practical, logical people, those traits specifically are very masculine. With that being said, I feel like I'm very much so left-brained a lot of the time when I'm doing something superficially. You know, when I'm just like, oh, like I'm just trying to figure something out and be practical, or doing things that other people require of me. That's when I get very left-brained, because I feel like, okay, I gotta be practical, I gotta do this right. When I'm alone and when I'm in my creative zone, that's when I feel very much so feminine. I make my best art when I'm in my female bag, when I'm in my feminine energy bag. I feel like, whoa, like I write beautiful poetry, I write beautiful things, I could paint a beautiful picture, I could make whatever I create is just phenomenal. Sometimes when I'm in that space of that creativity, I start to overthink, and my negative traits come into place, the perfectionism and the self-critical and the self-destructive, and I'm like, oh, this is way too, like, no one's gonna like this. When in reality, it's genius. But then I have to switch myself nowadays and say, okay, I like that piece of art, or I feel good about that piece of art. I'm in my mailbag now. Let me see how I can get this out. And at a certain point in my life, about a year and a half ago, I was doing that so well. I would create something, and then I would like be ready to like put it into work. Like, let's get this working. And that's because I was dating someone who made me feel like I just wanted to be my best. Not even just for them, but for me too. For us. But now I'm in a space where I'm doing it for me, because I'm figuring out my self-value. And I'm getting in touch with that, because I deserve me going hard for me, not because I'm paired off with someone else. And that's something I've had to work on when it comes to self-worth. It's like I felt like on my own I don't deserve anything. I only deserve it if I'm with someone else. I only want things if someone else, like, that's not good. I need things for me. I do. And I need to feel accomplished. And it's not even just about materials a lot of the time. And I know a lot of people can relate to this. It's more of a, like, I need to prove to myself that I can do this. I need to prove to myself that I can do that balancing act well, that I could produce, make it, to pull out. Because my purpose, personally, I feel like purpose is coming to this earth with your gifts and sharing them with the world around you, so that the world can be better and better and grow and evolve. The world needs to evolve. So with that being said, I think that our natural talents and our art and the things that we create are the reason for it, or is going to bring that evolution into place. So I think that it's very important for me to create. When I don't create, I feel very depressed. I feel very worthless. So if I want to feel worthwhile, if I want to feel like what I am, creative and a life changer and a evolved person that is helping to evolve this place, which feels so valuable to me, you have to get in touch with what makes you feel valuable. What makes you feel valuable? What are you here for? What are you alive for? Are you alive to add to the collective consciousness? Are you alive to help the planet be a better place? Are you alive to help children feel better about themselves? Are you alive to bring better music back on our radios and on TV? Are you alive to change the art world? Are you alive to give your perspective? Sometimes we are dragged through the mud. Sometimes we have the worst, hardest lives, but that's because we are meant to share something, to show the other person, look, you're not alone. What do most of us feel? Like we're alone. If we can tell them through public speaking or through stories and books or through music or through art or through interpretive dance or film, our story, simply, you're changing lives. You can do that in the most basic form, but that is creativity. Where a lot of us are lacking and falling off and depressed and feeling like we can't connect is because we are not in our feminine energy bag. Get in that damn feminine energy bag. I promise you'll change your life. That's goddess awakening. That's feminine awakening. It's not just about being in touch with your feelings and being open to your feminine feelings, even though that's a huge part of it. It's about allowing yourself to go deep within yourself. You do not have to do that in the presence of another person. You don't have to be in a relationship. You don't need a woman, men, to teach you how to go deep within yourself. You can just go off somewhere and be by your damn self and say, you know what, bruh? What do you feel, man? Why don't you trust women? Why don't you like this? Why do you like that? Why am I like this? And you go deep. You find ways to pull it out of yourself. Women do it, but we have to not only do that, we have to get in our mailbag too and say, how can I get this out in a constructive way? How can I make myself feel more valuable to myself? I'll give you an example for me. I feel valuable when I create the art, not only create the art that I feel or see inside of myself, when I actually get it out to you guys. When I make these videos and put them out, I don't care if I got 3 viewers, 2 viewers, 15 viewers, 60 viewers. I just need somebody to see it. And I need to make it in as creative as I want to, or as least creative. I just need to see it how I see it in my head. And if I get that out to you guys, I feel good about myself. Because that's just the beginning for me. I'm just learning how to do this or getting comfortable with doing this. So it's like, okay, this is a creative art form to me. And I'm doing more things in my private life that are my personal talents. That when I express them, I feel valuable. I feel valuable when I do things that I want to do. I want to walk slow, I'm going to walk slow. If I want to walk fast, I'm going to walk fast. When I'm considerate to other people, it makes me feel good. It makes me feel valuable because I'm sticking to my beliefs. I'm a considerate person. Some people love the fact that they're not considerate. It makes them feel a certain way. Maybe it feeds their ego, but they're true to themselves. They say, that's who I want to be, so I'll be it. That is self-worth. That is saying, what am I worth to me? If I feel like I am worth something, it's because I prove something to myself. So prove something to yourself. My biggest thing right now is proving something to myself. That can look however for the individual, but just understand that it has a lot to do with this goddess awakening, this feminine awakening of the feminine. That does not mean people that everyone's gonna start acting like a woman or something as dumb as that. No, it means that everyone is gonna go deeper within themselves to see what they need, to see what makes them feel valuable to themselves, to understand their emotions, to be able to be the viewer of their emotions. That's actually a masculine trait, to use your logical mind, so to speak, to observe your emotional self. So getting your feminine back so that you can be balanced. And the reason I say I'm talking to women more so right now is because women need to be that strength for themselves, and we need to allow ourselves, women of color especially, if they don't, it's like Tyler Perry, for instance. He didn't see a place for him in the film world. He created one. Rihanna saying she doesn't want kids right now. She wants to just live her life. That's awesome. That's like that feminine awakening. It's just going, literally simply going deep within yourself, finding your likes, dislikes, your strengths, your weaknesses, and you sculpting that and tuning that to where it serves your highest creative self, your highest, most purposeful self. Then you go back into that male bag and you say, how can I make this my everyday life? How can I make this? So I discovered what makes me feel whole and worthy. Then going into that masculine bag is, okay, how can I live my life with this knowing? You need both. You need both. You need it. Period. You need both. You need to understand how to function in the world around you, masculine. But you also need to learn how to be well and to be whole and to be happy while you function, feminine. So allow that femininity to awaken inside of you. It's been long overdue. And heal, so that the things that you have and the things that you continue to gain in the material world, or even in the virtuous world, it'll just be that much more worthwhile. What you have will like triple. I hope that that's a easy thing to digest and to understand, because it's so important at this time. They don't want to see you be sure. They don't want to see you take the time that you need. And usually if people get angry that you're doing that, it's because either they don't know how to do it themselves, or they just like to overpower people. Either way, you probably don't want that in your space anyways. You don't want that kind of energy in your space. I've gone around men, they just, or just people in general, and they just hated my sureness. I have moments where I'm humble. I have moments where I'm feeling myself. Either way, you do what you do for you. Whatever helps you. Whatever helps you in the moment. For you though. That's all I got for you. I don't want to make this video a whole class, a whole seminar, but I think that's so important. So have a great day. Peace. I love you.
Me, I'm tight.